Thanks very much, Jim. Here at frigid Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, several hundred ice boats have been brought for this National Ice Boating Championship. And quite a sight it is, too, at this spot, which is a very famous resort spot during the summertime, about 80 miles northwest of Chicago, but now it has become the ice boating capital of the world on this all-important weekend of the National Championships. Everybody getting their boats ready, the skippers assembling the boats, pinning the stays so the boats will hold together when running at very high speeds. Boy, the vibration on rough ice can literally shake a boat apart. Everything must be just right. The runners must be polished to get the maximum speed. The main sheet must be in perfect place. And I'm seated in an E-boat. This is called the Slave Ship. And believe me, it's mighty cold out here today. 10 below zero and the wind is whipping around. I think it's going to be a fine championship this year. Only wish you could have the privilege of being in one of these boats when they go skittering across the ice at speeds close to 100 miles an hour at times. And you can imagine, too, with the wind whipping these main sheets around and with nothing but 3 steel runners on the ice, the kind of speed that you can get. This is a family sport, too. The little ones and the dogs tag along to see what kind of a thrill they can scrape up out here on the ice. And as far as weather is concerned, you have to be really prepared. You have to be rugged. Crash helmets are a necessity because it is inherently a dangerous sport. Now we're getting set for the running of the E-boat competition. This is the popular skeeter class. And we'll be underway with the start of the E-boat championships here at Lake Geneva in just a moment. A field of more than 40 of these sleek E-boats are now ready for the competition as the committee sets the weather mark. This will be 1 mile from the start mark, and it'll be directly upwind during that first mile. And they're underway as the skippers push their boats to get them started. These boats starting off on a starboard tack and the remainder on a port tack. The wind is about 15 knots right from the north right now, but the ice is still quite rough and fairly slow because they've had light snowfall here and it's slowed down the ice considerably. Also, the ice is kind of thin in spots. Normally it's about 12 inches at this time of year, and it's, well, not much more than 5 right now. This is the way they will move down the course to the Christmas tree or the weather mark 1 mile away from the start. That'll be upwind, and then they'll come back downwind with the wind, and that really is the trick to ice boating. Taking the weather mark first is 149. That's Jack Rip in Misfortune, and followed closely by Bill Madison in 134, the Honey Bucket. These two fellows have had quite a competition going during this weekend. Jack Rip has won 2 firsts in this class coming into this final race, and Bill Madison has 2 seconds. So Rip can't afford to finish too far down from Madison, or he might lose the overall championship. That's why it's quite a race going. Lou Lanicky in 35 coming around. Number 80, Frank Frost. 281 is Lauren Sherry as the boats hike up and come around the weather mark. The mark of a good skipper is being able to keep that boat under control when it hikes up and starts running with the wind. Unlike the soft water sailor who considers it a great mark and challenge to be able to sail fast upwind or into the wind, these fellows feel it's a great challenge to be able to sail downwind. It may look like a little bit of confusion to you out there, but this race is done on a series of zigzags. They're called tacks. And just like soft water sailing, they have to maneuver these boats around the course. Now this would be up and back on a series of tacks around the weather mark and then tacking on the way back. Always trying to keep that sail in a relative position to the wind to give you the greatest maximum speed. Well, we still have quite a race. Jack Rip and Bill Madison are fighting it out for first place as the other boats are kind of strung out behind. And Buddy Melges now has taken over 3rd place. Buddy Melges in boat number 180. Buddy is a great soft water sailor himself, and he's setting sail now to try to catch Jack Rip, who hikes up a little bit as he heads down toward the last lap. Around the weather mark one more time, and he's followed by Bill Madison in 134, and Buddy Melges is not too far behind in 3rd place. Buddy sailed in the Olympics in Tokyo for the United States team, and here he is as the boat hikes up. And he has a firm hold now on 3rd place Lou Lanicky in 35 has dropped back to 4th. This is Rip at the bottom of your picture, followed by Bill Madison. And it looks like Madison may be picking up a little bit of ground. It is. It's Madison around the mark, and he will set sail for home. And he's followed closely by Jack Rip. And so they will run with the wind now. And so they are a mile from the finish, and here comes the 4th place boat. Buddy Melges is still in 3rd as they head for home. You'll notice that they sail these boats very close hauls. In other words, they don't let that sail billow out. If they did, the tremendous speed with these runners and the wind and that big sail would tip them literally right over. It's kind of a blister-raising job to sail one of these boats, and it's a cold job for them, too. And now as they come toward the finish line, it's 1:34. That's Bill Madison, who has 2 seconds and hopes to get a first here. Leading the field and very, very close to him is Jack Rip, closing fast. It's the question of which one will get the flag first, and here he is, the winner, Bill Madison, followed by Jack Rip in 1:49, and that means that it's not enough points for Madison to overtake Rip, and Rip is the overall champion in Class E. Quite a race between these two fellows. Well, now we move from Class E to the big boats, the Class A boats, from 75 square feet of sail to more than 350 square feet of sail. This is what one of these big boats looks like. The backbone, or the big center bone there, is more than 50 feet long. The mast itself is more than 50 feet high. And these boats will have as much as 650 to 700 feet of sail on them. And as our ABC Wide World of Sports helicopter hovers overhead, you get an idea of this tremendous center spar that holds the mainsail in place. These boats weighing about 1.5 tons get ready to go. They have 2-man skippers. Both of them will be in the basket as they get this tremendous piece of equipment rolling. They have to get up to about 15 or 20 knots before they can get in and get the help of the wind. There had been some thought that maybe the A-boats wouldn't race this year, being so heavy and everything, and the ice freezing so late in the winter. Normally, at Lake Geneva, they'd have about 1 foot of ice, but right now, in places, it's down to 4 and 5 inches. And so there had been some question whether they get these big fellas out on the ice, but they are out and racing. Number 12 taking the early lead, that's Ron Scholmer. Buddy Melges in Ferdinand in 2nd as they go to the weather mark. Clyde Gerber in Clancy is currently running in 3rd place. And here is Ron Scholmer, the 1st place boat, coming toward the mark. Now, some of the marks on the ice have been laid out for the smaller boats. So you will see a Christmas tree or so, or a pylon right here, and that is not part of the A-boats. They will go down another half mile or so before they will start to make their round. Here's Clancy. This is Clyde Gerber's boat, currently running in 3rd place. Who also has done very well in Class B competition. These fellows, many of them, have 2 and 3 different boats in different classes that they sail in these national championships. Oh, look at that one hike up. And down she comes very gently back to the surface of the ice. A-12 ahead, skippered by Ron Scholmer, and followed closely by Clancy in B-9. And it's quite a race as they move down toward the weather mark, and here is the Clancy overtaking Scholmer. So B-9 is the lead boat right now. A little snow squall has come up over Lake Geneva, and it has obscured the visibility somewhat, so the spectators are having a hard time seeing just exactly who is in the lead right now. And coming up very swiftly is I-2. This is Buddy Melges and Hank Morgan also passing Scholmer. A-12 seems to have slowed down quite a bit and has relinquished 2nd place now. So Melges has taken over 2nd place and now has 1 boat to beat. That's the B-9, the Clancy, who will be rounding the weather mark in a wide arc and will be coming back toward the start-finish line. And as they move down toward the finish line, we'll be back with the conclusion of this race in just a moment.